because I get to meet brethren all around the world.
Io amo INCRadio perché è molto interessante e mi incoraggia di più a partecipare ed essere più uniti attraverso le attività approvate dall'amministrazione.
Ja lubię INCRadio потому что оно информативно и увлекательно.
Amo INCRadio perché oltre al fatto che incontri nuovi amici e fratelli dentro la Chiesa di Cristo, mi aiuta anche a tirare fuori le mie potenzialità che non sapevo di avere.
Inho il INCRadio asti sperani u amiltni il giornata ferhana.
We are presenting the iglesianicristo Sign Language Guide, Android and iOS version. We gladly introduce the new interface of our INC Sign Language Guide, Android, and the much-awaited iOS version. The INC Sign Language apps is a project of the Christian Society for the Deaf under the Christian Family Organizations Office of the Iglesianicristo Church of Christ. It is a part of the church's continuous intensive efforts to reach out to and care for the deaf, INC members and non-members alike. This free sign language app includes the following features: 8,000 plus vocabulary entries, all in video, customizable video playback speeds, examples of signed phrases and sentences, categorized everyday signs like alphabet, numbers, colors, greetings, educational terms, medical terms, legal terms, iglesianicristo and religious terms, and many more. User maintainable favorites category, fast search and voice search. All features are available offline. And since these sign language applications contain phrases concerning the iglesianicristo and religious terms, we can use these apps in inviting more deaf fellow men to learn the basic doctrines being taught inside the church. For more information, please visit www.iglesianicristo.net, www.facebook.com/Christian Family Organizations, www.facebook.com Christian Society for the Deaf. Thank you for your support.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
And good morning and welcome to INC Radio Florida. I'm Brother Ken in beautiful, sunny Pensacola, Florida. So glad that you all joined us today. The time here is 8:33 a.m. Central Time. That's 9:33 Eastern Time. And we have one of those shows that I just love, of course, because we're talking about food. And that's always one of my favorite things. Before we get into digging in, I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, guten morgen, maganda gabe. And thank you all. You know, it's so fitting today to have these good mornings and these international greetings simply because, you know, living in Florida, we are so lucky to have all these great ethnic foods that, you know, probably because there's just this huge influx of immigration. And it's been that way since the beginnings of Florida. So, and I don't, you know, am I lucky or are my pants, you know, do I just have to constantly get a new belt? I don't know, but it is something that I simply enjoy. And I tell you, I want to go down to our mobile studio down in Tampa, to Sister Audrey and Sister Maricel. Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Jim. We are super excited to talk to you all listening in on INC Radio Florida this morning with myself, Sister Audrey Tapales, and Maricel Soria.
Hello, everyone.
But yes, we have a really great topic today that we want to introduce you to all, because of course, if you're INC Radio Florida, we know that this show is a show that talks about food and about places for you to come visit when you make your stop here in Florida, either for the summer or even to warm up in the cooler months along. So, Kuya Tech, if you can, please, if we can go ahead and start the presentation, because we were so excited to introduce these different foods that you can stop by when you come to Florida and visit your favorite INC Radio crew here. So of course we want to take you and kickstart our Florida food tour. As you know from last week's show, it gets pretty hot here in Florida. So especially with myself this past summer, I have needed to cool down significantly. And so we've got some really great dessert spots here in Florida. And there's majority of them are going to be here in the Tampa Bay area, just because that's what we have access to here. But if you look there in the middle, so that middle there, I'm sure a lot of our viewers will know, is Filipino halo halo. So if you translate that from Tagalog to English, it literally means mix. So what does that entail? Well, these are all different shaved ice. The Filipino shaved ice is like just shaved ice made out of water, but it's usually consisted of condensed milk and different kinds of toppings like red beans, fruits. More often than not, you're gonna find some ube in there, which is just the ube ice cream, just to kind of dress it up a little bit. There are different variations of halo halo, because when you mix things together, you can mix all kinds of things that cater to your preference. So you've got a dressed up one there on the top left with some leche flan as well, and a different variety of fruits. I personally like the mango with mango syrup and condensed milk. Such great texture. And then you've got another one that's just loaded with ice cream on top there in the middle and the top right. So those are going to be the different kinds of halo halo presentations that you'll typically see. Down there in the bottom left and the bottom right, however, has been the texture of a lifetime for me in this past year. And that's going to be like the Taiwanese shaved ice, which is typically called bao bing. So you can find that in usually in like Chinese or Taiwanese restaurants, a lot of dessert places when you go by. So the halo halo comes kind of a variety. We've got a Midtown restaurant here in Tampa, but if you're in the St. Pete area, you can go to Vampire Penguin in downtown, and right there on I think it's 6th Avenue. I'm not sure, but you'll see it on Google. When you go into downtown St. Pete, you've got Vampire Penguin with their shaved blocks of, and it's actually not just ice. It's like ice, like frozen blocks of like different milk teas. So the bottom right one is going to be a strawberry. You got a strawberry version, and then like what they call like a dulce de leche version. So I think it's like a caramel blocked ice. And then my favorite is the one on the bottom left, which was their Thai tea. So mixed with like Oreos, drizzled condensed milk, and then it's the texture is like snow. So halo halo, you've got like that icy texture, right? But that is like a soft, pillowy, almost creamy, because it's frozen milk tea. So you get like that coolness of the ice, but like almost like this is too good to be. You can't quite put your finger if it's shaved ice or ice cream.
I got it. When we were talking about doing this topic last week, you were mentioning shaved ice, and I'm kind of ignorant about potato ice, obviously, because when I saw the pictures came over, I'm like, wow, this looks like ice cream sundaes. I mean, these look so good. They're not like slushy. That's like what I had in my mind. But so you're saying that Oreo? Because I gotta admit, I looked at the Oreo crusted one first, and that was so good. So it's really got a texture that's kind of creamy, kind of a little bit.
Oh my gosh, Yes, because I mean, it's just they take like that, and it's like an ice block of cream, and they take it through that machine. I'm pretty sure it's the same like shaved ice machine that we've seen in like Hawaii for like Hawaiian shaved ice, but the way it comes off, it's like, I don't know, it's like a beautiful version of like when ice comes off like a glacier. Like it's like it comes in those, like it's like you're filing it down, and then once you like take that bite into it, it like it kind of just forms whatever the shape of your spoon is, and then once you put it in your mouth, it's like the way that it melts is just like a cooling, creamy goodness.
Oh my gosh. For our listeners out there, you're not experiencing technical difficulties. It is my stomach rumbling right now. This is so delicious. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's the Filipino halo halo, and then you've got your the bao bing from China and Taiwan, and then over here now we shifted kind of gears into more of like a hybrid. So that top left. The top left is still gonna be like that bao bing, because you can just choose. And if you take a look, it's actually boba. So it's that same like snowy texture, but you can put different toppings on there. So this one's gonna be a milk tea with boba on it. That's also in St. Pete, and then we've got kind of a mix of like your Hawaiian American shaved ice now. So it's going back to like that water-based shaved ice, but now you can top it with different kinds of syrups. So if you don't have like fresh fruits or those chewier condiments, any syrup would work just fine. I think that one was like a matcha syrup with ube, and then like dried marshmallows on top, and that made for a nice texture too. This top right one is going to be like a mango nata. So you've got shaved ice with mango flavoring, but then you've also thrown in, this is more of like a Latin fusion of your shaved ice. You'll have your tahine in there and chamoy, and it gives you that spicy kick to your shaved ice. So if you want it to just be a little bit savory, that's a great option too. So good.
Sounds
yes, very Florida with the Spanish influence. And then down there in the bottom right is bingsu. So bingsu is also another form of water-based shaved ice, but it's more common to find the fruits in red bean. When you find red bean in there, sometimes they'll mix the actual shaved ice with frozen red beans, so you get that another depth of texture. And then, but then it's not just bingsu; it's called pat bingsu with the red bean in it. And then, but circling back around to like my favorite, like snowy texture. So bao bing's got it going on with the snowy texture. So does Japan with the kakigori. So that bottom left one is going to be matcha. So same concept of freezing like a block of milk tea. That one's going to be with matcha, and it has matcha syrup, mochi, and red beans on top. And I think also sweetened condensed milk. So if you were to ask me what my personal favorite of shaved ice, it's going to be the kakigori or the bao bing cream based shaved ice, because it's another layer of goodness to say.
Every picture looked so good, and like I said, I have never, obviously I don't know what shaved ice is because I've never seen anything like this, and I'm going to go out, I'm going out to search for this. But I guess as a PSA real quick, Sister Audrey, how do you keep from getting, I know I'm going to get a brain freeze immediately, because it looks so good to try to slow down.
No, just take your time, and if you get too cold, go back outside. I'm sure you'll get warm real quick.
Awesome. Well, I guess the next thing we're getting into my neck of the woods and Sister Cherie's neck of the woods. Sister Cherise, tell us that this is the landmark of Pensacola everyone loves so much. It's just such a great place, but tell us about it.
Good morning, everyone. Yes. Joe Patty's is a huge seafood market here that we have in Pensacola that we're so fortunate to have. And anyone who comes through Pensacola, any of my family, friends, visitors, like if they want seafood, this is where I'm taking them because it's like a sight to see. I mean, this place here, it's like jam-packed all full of people just wanting to get really fresh seafood. And sometimes you have to get there super early because the lines can get really long. I mean, I'm talking about, you see in the middle there with my son Caden, who was posing when he was when he was little. You can see those lines come straight out that door, just people waiting to get in, not only to get really great seafood, but just for the experience alone. It's really great. And so you can see these pictures here. There's just so much fresh seafood, and you can see how well kept it is. I mean, they keep it on ice. You can just go down the road and just decide what type of seafood you want. Visualize it from the bottom right. I mean, this building is huge, and it's just lined with all types of fish. Some of them are already filleted, as you can see from the top right picture. You also have, your shellfish, your shrimp. You have the bottom right is my favorite one because that's crawfish, and I love crawfish. And then there's also steamed crab, like blue crabs there. They have lobster. They also have steamed shrimp. If you're like quickly just trying to get a quick meal or anything like that, or you don't have time to cook it either, great thing about them is that they will actually steam it for you there. So you choose whatever type of seafood that you want. Let's say you're trying to do like a seafood boil, but you don't have time to get all of the stuff together. You could just pick your selection of shrimp or however you want to do it, and you pay for it, and you ask them right then and there, like, do you need to steam it for you? And then you can just decide your seasonings as well. Like if you like it spicy, you can get it spicy. And so that's a great option about this. I've used that options many times. If I'm running late and I don't have time to fill a big pot of water, I'm trying to entertain people, then I just go straight there and just, pick my selection of seafood. And the other great thing about this place is the top left corner. You can see they have gelato. So not only do they offer fresh seafood, but on the other side of Joe Patty's, they also offer like this little seafood market, and they have everything that you could possibly need to make, seafood recipes, like all kinds of just jarred goodies there. And they also have gelato, which is my kids' favorite. If they know I'm going to Joe Patty's, they want to come with me because they are a free little of either vanilla or chocolate gelato for the kids. So that keeps them entertained while I'm trying to do my shopping. And then if you move to the next slide, I think we have some more options here. Here we go. So this is the after, this is what we bring home. And then you can see my son Caden, he's taking a picture at the bottom left with the lobster. She's such the poser, the jokester. But yeah, this is typically what we do. We get a lot of steamed crab. We also get snow crab legs. And like I said, the thing too with the snow crab is they'll have, the freezer section. So you just pull whatever you want. Normally the snow crab is already, it's frozen for you, everything, the amount you want. And normally get like 2 or 3 bags of snow crab. I'll go up to the front, pay for it, and just have them steam it there for me already. They're already cooking it, and I don't even have to worry about it. And at that time, I'm going to take the kids for gelato while I'm waiting for them to cook, cook my food for me. So it's just so convenient. And and then we just take all of our delicious seafood home and we just enjoy ourselves. And the one thing I do is the top left, I'll get I have a whole bunch of just plastic table covers in my pantry because I know when we're going to eat seafood, it's going to get messy. And I'm going to be so full after that I'm not going to feel like real. So all I got to do is just, ball up the plastic, the table cover, and just throw it away. And, my table is nice and clean and ready to go. So, that's just how we do our seafood boils. And then you can see too, this picture here on the big one with the corn and the steamed crab. That was when my father came, and you can see they also have stone crab as well. I don't know if you can see that one, but that my dad, when he comes, this is exactly where he wants to go. Even some of my friends who come to visit me, I'm like, hey, do you want to go to the beach? They'll say, no, I want to go to Joe Patty's. So this is in itself is just an experience, and the seafood is so good. And it's funny because as soon as you get in there, and Brother Jim can tell you to this, I mean, it's like an experience. My dad loves it. You go in there, they'll give you a ticket number, and this place is so busy that they have crew people just lining up waiting to serve someone. So they're just sitting there reading off your ticket number. And I think it's Joe Patty himself or one of his relatives is just sitting there on the microphone, just reading them off. So it's really quite entertaining. And my dad always gets a kick out of it every time he comes. Like, that's the place he wants to go to. So when we say seafood, he doesn't want to go to a restaurant. He wants to go to Joe Patty's. So it's always really, really great experience for anyone who stops by. I mean, we offer such great seafood, at the beaches, the restaurants there really do. But if you want an experience and you want something fresh, if you're just visiting here and you're staying in a hotel or a B&B and you just want to, have some fresh seafood, stop by there. Because like I said, the great thing is that they cook it for you, which is always wonderful. And then you don't have to worry about making a mess. Just take it home. And then one thing we've done too is we'll stop by there in in the morning. Like, let's say we're going to go to the beach, we're going to go to a pontoon boat. We'll just get a bunch of seafood that's already been cooked and take it to the beach. And we're sitting there under, like our tents, and we're just eating up crawfish and shrimp and just having ourselves a good on time, just enjoying the beach or enjoying being out on the boat too. So those are always some great things as well.
When you get a lot of tourists down here, and if you spend a lot of time on the pier like we do, it's like every now and then you're going to get a day you're not going to catch any fish. You see the tourists, they're down, they're sad, send them to Joe Patty's. They're still going to get to eat fish because it's so good. But I got to say, my favorite are the shrimp, those big Royal Reds. I don't know if you ever had them. They're red because they're deep water shrimp. So the pressure partially, boils them, right? They're living that way. So they're so clean that the flavor is just excellent. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's such a great thing. I got to tell you, all the family that comes down to visit me, the first thing they say is, oh, we don't have to go out. Just go to Joe Patty's and make us a big seafood feast. Yeah. I don't know.
I know. See, well, the great thing about my family when they come, like, for example, my uncle and his family were just here a couple of days ago. And of course, the very first time they came to visit us in February, they were saying, oh, what's the seafood? What's the best place for seafood? And my husband immediately is like, oh, yeah, let's take them to Joe Patty's. And my uncle was just astonished. It was a good thing I was there because it was very overwhelming on your first experience. You don't know what to do. It's just so much going on. So it was really nice because he actually cooked everything. So I just sat back and watched. I was like, oh, this is entertaining in itself because, he has his own recipes for how he does his shrimp. It was really enjoyable. And I mean, the snow crab, I have to purchase that alone for my daughters because they will just eat all of the snow crab. They won't save anything for anyone. My children are seafood lovers. So I have to make sure I have enough for everybody and then enough for them.
Absolutely. It's easy to become a seafood lover when you got a place like this. It's so awesome. So our next slide in there, because I probably will go to Joe Patty's later today, but this was the place I discovered. I had thought about going to a couple of different places with my wife, and she loves raw oysters. She recently discovered raw oysters, and that's like now her thing. So she wanted to go to a place that had raw oysters, and I wanted to kind of try something new. We found this place, Cafe Nola. Here in Pensacola, we kind of look more, I'll say we look to the west, out in the Panhandle. If you're familiar where we're located, we're right on the line with Alabama. We have Mobile, and we're within 3 hours of New Orleans. So we have a lot of great Cajun restaurants. And I have to say, I had never been here, and I was so pleasantly surprised. It had in that top left-hand corner, you see red beans and rice. It was the best red beans and rice. Such a simple dish, but it was so good. They had wonderful oysters. Luke wasn't quite as excited as my wife for the oysters and my son there. And then we had barbecue shrimp. And I don't know if you've never tried barbecue shrimp at a Cajun restaurant, I highly recommend it. You're going to get that nice crusty French bread. And one of the best things, the shrimp is fantastic, but to get down to that sauce, because it's not like any barbecue sauce that you typically think of for ribs or something like that. This sauce is just melts in your mouth. It's kind of buttery. It is so wonderful. And then we go to the next slide. I absolutely love a good muffalata down there in the bottom left-hand corner. If you're not familiar with that sandwich, it's got, it's usually it's cold cuts. It's like provolone. It's made on this wonderful sesame seed bun, and then they put a layer of tapenade, that the olives. And I don't know, it's just one of those sandwiches. It's like a taste explosion when you put it in your mouth. And I was so pleased with the one that we got here. It was so great. And then that big picture there is etouffee, which that was another one of those dishes. That's another new favorite for my wife. She never really had etouffee, and this is crawfish etouffee. It's got some sausage in it, but it is so good. It's like a gravy. So if you ever get a chance to do it, I was so pleased. And then up in the top off that meal, the bananas Foster cheesecake was just so good. And you get all that seafood, and you get that rich, spicy Cajun, and then you kind of level it out with that nice sweet caramel, kind of almost a praline flavor with that bananas Foster's. It's just fantastic. So I kind of have a new top 10 place to go to in Pensacola. I was so glad. That's the fun about doing these shows is, we get to go out into our neighborhoods and discover new things. And I really, really love this place. So, but another place that I love that a good friend of mine told me about, a great guy, he suggested to go down to Tarpon Springs. And I think that's the next thing that we go. But Sister Marisol, you're going to give us the skinny on that. What's going on?
So circling back to Tampa Bay, towards the north, we have a beautiful community called Tarpon Springs. Tarpon Springs is also known as the sponge capital of the world, and the sponge diving industry actually brought a lot of Greek immigrants back in the early 1900s. And so Tarpon Springs, as much as they're known for sponges, they are equally known for the rich Greek culture in the city, which brings us to the amazing Greek food that we can get while we're there. This is one of the more famous restaurants that we like to frequent here in Tampa Bay. Right there in the middle is one of our favorite appetizers called saganaki. And if for all of our charcuterie lovers out there, imagine melted manchego on really, really good fresh bread. Oh, so good. And it's dinner and a show because you get the really loud oppa, and they flambe it right in front of your table. So make sure you watch your eyebrows on that one, no matter how excited you are to get to the cheese. And you get a really big variety of different traditional Greek dishes. So on the top right, you can see various Greek appetizers. They have dolmades, which are stuffed grape leaves. Typically at this restaurant that we like to go to, it's stuffed with Greek spiced rice along with ground beef. And then if we want to go to the next slide, not only is it a restaurant, on the next slide, we also have pictures of the bakery. So a fully stocked bakery with different Greek desserts. You also have a lot of good scenery around the area too. So you can see there, the restaurants line the sponge docks. You also have really, really good views, especially around the sunset. So definitely not just dinner and a show in the restaurant, but also around it, because as you approach dinner time, the Florida sunsets cannot be beat when it comes to the west coast of our beautiful state. And then right there, if you're looking for a good place with ambiance, you can see a picture of my now husband and I. There at that beautiful restaurant in Tarpon Springs. So to close us out, I'm going to pass it off to Sister Audrey with acknowledgements.
Oh my goodness, yes, we're already at the bottom of the hour, which is so crazy. But of course, we want to extend our warm, heartfelt greetings to Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive minister, Brother Angelo Aranio Manalo, our subsea CEO and CFO coordinator, and then our executive producer, Brother Manley and Daya. Thank you for allowing us to take part in INC Radio Florida, where we can also talk about our region and take all of you on a Florida food tour. So we're so grateful for your support on the show. And then Sister Cherise, how can everyone stay connected?
Ways to stay connected: www.incmedia/INC Radio, or YouTube search INC Radio Florida. That way you can always stay connected with our radio shows on YouTube, because we always want you to watch us on Saturday mornings. And if not Saturday mornings, you can always catch up with us throughout the week as well. And then you can also make sure you download it on your phone for iOS devices and Android devices as well.
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna go get something to eat. I think with a show like this, you can't beat it. But we want to thank you all, and we appreciate all your comments, and please continue to join us. And I think we probably should get into an exercise topic at some point, because introducing to all this great food, but it's so good. But I wanted to thank you all for joining us. For my co-host, Sister Maricel, Sister Audrey, Sister Cherise, Brother Robert. Thank you all for joining us this week. We hope you'll tune in next Saturday to INC Radio Florida. Thank you.